This is the Black Ice Audio FX10H. It has been updated and upgraded from the standard FX10. Now, I remember reviewing the FX10. It was between the last 1 and 2 years sometime right here on this channel. And I really enjoyed the amp. And I kind of missed it when I had to send it back to Black Ice because I found it during my time with the original FX10. I found it to be a charming little tube amp that offered up a nice tube sound with a little bit of modern flair, and it just was beautiful. But it had some things about it that were not ideal, right? It wasn't a bad thing. There was nothing in that original that made me say, ooh, I wouldn't buy that for $7.99. In fact, it was quite the opposite. But there was a little noise. There was quite a bit of heat that comes from this amp. And this one has been improved in a couple of ways. First, it is now ventilated better, and they tweaked the circuit to create a little bit less heat, so it's not going to be as hot as the original. Black Ice also upgraded the stock tubes, so you're getting a better stock tube versus the Electro Harmonics. This amp brings a very seductive, silky mid-range where the voices live. Very beautiful. And the top end is extended, but it's pretty smooth. It's not one of these ear biters that's going to bite your ear off with a bright kind of sound. This is not a bright amp. What else has been improved? You have a slot here on the top glass panel to allow more heat to dissipate. You have the Black Ice Audio print here. It has 2 inputs, RCA inputs. And you have a wonderful headphone amp. The headphone amp of the FX10H is actually quite good. Now, I was enjoying my Verum II headphones with the FX10H just as much as I was enjoying them with a higher dollar headphone amp. This amp here, why I love this amp, it's $799. It comes from Black Ice Audio, which is a company based right here in the United States. This guy also has a dedicated subwoofer output right on the back. But what I love about it is its small size, and it sounds way more refined than you would think it would sound for $799. Now, you can order these with upgraded tubes. You can go to tongue sole tubes. And each upgrade at the shopping cart at Black Ice will add a little bit more money to the price. But I've been listening to it with the stock tubes here for the last 2 or 3 weeks with all of the speakers I have here, and it's driven them all with ease in my 13x18 space, and it's driven them all with a beauty, a tube kind of vibe. And I have to say, usually when I get a tube amp in these days to test or evaluate, they have a more modern sound. Even Black Ice's larger tube amps have a more modern sound, which brings you that detail, the resolution, the speed with a little bit of tube sound. I would say this has a lot of tube sound with some speed and great extension, but it has that glow about it, that humanity in the mid-range that I love so much, and that I don't necessarily get with most solid state amps. This is so special because it's so well made, it's so easy to set up and use, and it's under $1,000. I don't know of any tube amp, period, none, under $799 that can even touch the FX10H. Now, what about noise? I didn't find the original one noisy, but there was a little low-level hum that came from it that I couldn't hear at my listening seat. It was pretty silent for the most part, but if I had to nitpick, it was a little noise coming from it. I didn't really notice much noise from the speakers. But with this in, I'm hearing no noise. There's no hum at all coming from the transformer here. There's no hum or noise coming from the speakers. It does run pretty warm, but they did improve the glass plate, and I believe they tweaked the circuit a bit to make it maybe not run as hot. Now, this is an ultra linear amp, 12 watts per channel, but it is high current. And because it is high current, that means it can power speakers that a normal 12 watts per channel amp may not be able to drive. So I tested this amp with the Qualio IQs, which are known to require quite a bit of current to come alive. This drove them with ease, even at low volume. It was silky. And believe it or not, this added a little more bass in the mids versus my reference AGD duets that are $11,500 monoblock amplifiers. This had more humanity and a more organic vibe about it versus those reference amps. Again, $799. If you go to the Black Ice website, there I believe are 20-something reviews from owners who bought this amp directly from Black Ice. I urge you to read those as well. There's a lot of opinions there. This also ships with a metal aluminum remote now, and that is nice to have. It feels solid and sturdy. Very easy to change the volume or your inputs here. And as I said, it does have a subwoofer out, so if you want to hook up a subwoofer, it makes it very easy to do so. So the Black Ice Audio FX10H uses the beautiful EL84 tube. EL84 tubes are generally will give you low power, but a beautiful, seductive, silky mid-range. And that means the vocals in some songs and performances, say you're listening to some sweet jazz and you're chilling out in your room and Ella Fitzgerald comes on, and with this, her voice is going to sound organic, human, real. It's going to have texture to it and a beauty, a warmth, a velvet-like kind of sound. And it is just so inviting to hear it like that versus something that's dry or trying to be too dynamic. This is a really, really sweet sounding amplifier. Now, I also tried this amp with the Borison X2s. Sounded lovely, actually gave them a little bit more of an open sound to me versus the Class D amps I've been using. I like the Class D amps better, of course, because they bring that drive, impact, that high wattage power. But these are amps that are not meant to be compared, yet I'm kind of comparing them because at $799, this gives me almost as much enjoyment of the music as those big amps do, proving you don't have to spend a fortune to enjoy music, and you absolutely do not. This is an amp that I can't imagine anyone disliking. I was running this with the Dana Fripp's Eris 12-1 DAC, which I find to be a lovely, rich, a little bit warm-leaning DAC. I love that DAC for the same reasons I love this amp. And if you pair that DAC with this amp, and by the way, that DAC is under $1,000, and you pair it to some revealing speakers, you'll be able to get a wide open holographic three-dimensional sound stage, which is what a lot of people go for in these audio systems. But at the same time, you'll have a very musical presentation with generous bass, and it's not sloppy bass, it's tight, but it's not as uber controlled and tight as some of these high-powered Class D amps. This is a tube amp all the way from a company based in the United States. They upgraded the stock tube so it does sound richer, more refined, and more beautiful than ever. They updated the glass cover. It comes with a metal remote, and it's as quiet as ever. It's pretty silent, to be honest. All from Black Ice Audio. So if you've been looking for an integrated amp that's tube-based and is pure tube, but you don't want to spend $3,000 to $5,000, this amp is really, really special at $799. No, it's not the best because the best doesn't exist for everyone. This might be a best for you versus a higher dollar amp, and it might not be the best for you. But one thing I can tell you for certain is this has a lovely, rich, beautiful, velvet-like musical sound. It's $799. It's ready to go out of the box. And I can't say enough good things about it. This is an amp I will keep here now as a small tube integrated reference to test speakers with. Other speakers I tested this with beside the Borison X2, besides the Qualio IQ Ultras, are the Triangle Duetto 40th anniversary. It really added a velvet-like quality to those speakers. So I started really digging what this amp was doing. Also, I tested it with my Closer Acoustics Augie and Bob. Again, it drove those without any problem in my 13x18 space. The finest compliment I can give the Black Ice Audio FX10H is that it just makes beautiful music. You're not going to jam out with heavy metal at 110 decibels like a rock concert with this, because let's get real, it's 12 watts per channel. But because it pushes a lot of current, it's not going to have a problem driving most speakers rated at 87 dB or up, as long as you're in a small to medium sized room. So if you want more information, I'll put a link in the description below to Black Ice Audio, specifically to the page with the FX10H. You can read user reviews there. I'm not sure if these are in stock or not. They might be, but they sell them right there on the website direct for $799. Can't go wrong. Beautiful amplifier, proves you don't have to spend thousands to get beautiful music from your speakers. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you want to be notified of future videos. And I will see you guys in the next one. I love you all. I thank you all. Enjoy your systems, my friends. Enjoy that music. I'll see you next time.